Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Bogarts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together, we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. Welcome to part 3 of a 3-part expert series that's been going on for the last few months. So if you missed it, part 1 was on June 5th, episode 15, and then part 2 was July 3rd, episode 19, and today is the third and final part of this expert series where we talk everything authenticity. My 3 expert guests are Robin McTagg, Viviane Winters Israel, and Dagmar Fleming. Let's dive in. So, Robin, what advice and tips would you have to give someone who's sort of wanting to be their true authentic self, but especially in relationships? Because I find that sometimes can be one of the hardest things, that if you sort of are on your own, you have that time and space to be like, who do I want to be with? And you get into a relationship that can influence so much. So how do you sort of maintain that? Like, how do you, talk to us about
Yeah, and
relationships.
it's like our family, right? I think it's funny because people say, "Oh, I'm in a job now, and it's just like in high school, and it's just like in my family." Well, the patterns are all the same,
Right.
right? And so we fail to realize that, so we make ourselves wrong so much for what we're doing. But that's our brain going back to those places, like they show in studies when parents um, are feeling challenged, they're stressed out and dealing with kids, they revert back to how they were raised unless they've really done a lot of work. So we need to do the work and build the resilience when we're not in the conflict, right? The more that we can integrate it into our lives. So instead of just taking this course and that course and that course, what am I learning about self-care, self-renewal, self-resilience? How am I actually integrating it into my life? Do I need a support? Do I have friends, a community, whatever it is, journaling, if you're tend to be solitary, but there's something that you need to do. Like for me, if I don't take a walk and be in nature, almost every day, I notice how out of balance I get, and then I'm not as resilient and I'm more reactive. So
Right.
I have to really do that self-care and learn to not take things personally, right? Whether it's building the energy shields through the learning what is our responsibility and someone else's. It's response ability. What is my ability to respond? Like for me, growing up, being responsible for my mom at such an early age, I've been overly responsible in my life. So I've really had to learn to disengage that because that's not authentic. That's not taking care of me. And
Right.
I'm trying to take care of others. And often we're trying to rescue other people because we want it ourselves.
Mm.
So again, it's that piece of not understanding what's going on. So the responsibility is to understand ourselves and take care of ourselves and do that because that builds the strength to be in relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and it takes a lot of work. And I love that you said that it to do it when you're not in that situation. And then also, if you are sort of doing the work and then you find yourself back into like a conflict or the situation that maybe had, you know, triggered certain things, or that if you fall back into those old patterns, if you default back into like what it was or how you were treated or whatever, to be kind and compassionate to yourself, to be like, okay, like it's okay. Like I dipped back and because I just like, at least for me, sometimes I have done that, been like, oh, like how did that happen? I've been working so hard to not be that person. And most of the time I'm not that person. But in that moment I was, and like, oh, I hate myself for doing that, but that's not being compassionate and kind to myself and treating myself like a best friend. So you very much have to like forgive yourself and know that you can grow and be different next time. And it's a learning opportunity.
It's learning. And the thing is, we tend to see it as black and white, which it's not, right?
Right.
So it's in increments. Like if you think, well, you think I want to go from A to B. And, a lot of these personality types are like that, where we just want to get to that end result. And if we actually look back, like I had to do this with rehab with car accidents, if I
Mm.
could actually, 'cause day by day, we don't see a lot. But if we look back a month, 2 months, 3 months, you can see the difference in how you've been able to improve. So take a longer viewpoint, right? How long are we on the planet? Maybe 90, 100 years. We're not going to learn it all. And that is
Yeah.
part of humanity. Part of accepting our humanity is that we're always learning, that life is change, and allow those feelings of shame that come up. Like this is one that we don't talk about enough. There's the anger, the sadness that we kind of talk about, but the shame is from the heart, and the
Mm.
heart wants us to be love and to love others. So we take that on at a young age. So just allowing it, and it's like you said, oh, I screwed up. So the more that I can relax about my personality and things I did, we can bring in more humor. And I would say that's one of the gifts I've learned from the meditation. I don't take myself so seriously anymore. So that really helps me to be more authentic.
Mhm.
And though I have this little mantra from when I train in conflict resolution, and it's be curious, all behavior makes sense. So the more that I can think about the other person, that it's making sense to them, it doesn't to me. So how can I, ask questions and be curious and say, oh, tell me more about that, something to open up the conversation. Then I'm allowing myself to be me, and I'm allowing that other person. And then we can usually shift the conversation so that we understand what's important to each other. But without that honesty and often modeling it, the vulnerability, and learning vulnerability again isn't all or none. I saw this for myself and I see it in other clients, is we think we're going to be totally vulnerable, and then we get hurt and shamed and embarrassed, or it's like close to the heart and I can't show who I am. But
Right.
it's increments and building the relationship. I give a little, you give a little, so that reciprocity, and we build it over time. In this fast food nation, it's like, yeah, we want to get from here to there, but it's no, relationships take time, right? We see, do they have the capacity? Are they willing? So not making ourselves wrong and responsible, but seeing, can we build this together? Are we willing to move along? And especially in intimate relationships, but so often, people get involved so quickly because they want to fill the gap or the hole or whatever is going on for them. And so, but when we can do that, we can actually learn to be able to deal with the conflict and the tension and say, yeah, that's just part of life, like normalize it, right? And it may
Right.
feel awkward at first, but it's okay. And that other piece of really knowing who we are and what's important to us, and be willing to see other perspectives. So, I have a friend, and she's a very different type on the Enneagram, where she wants things to be done right and correct. And I do in a certain way too, but it's from a different perspective. I want to make sure people are safe and taken care of when we build community and take care of everyone. For her, this is the right way. This is the best way to really bring in what's good and right in the world. And it can sometimes come across as a little bit harsh. And I know I can too to other people if
Right.
I want to tell it like it is, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Exactly. But it's like, oh, yeah, I see. That's just a different perspective. And again, that not taking it personally, and finding out more about it, because it may sound harsh, but when I actually get to hear more about it, it's for a better purpose. But it's like the frustration comes out in maybe a blaming statement or something, and then maybe I can offer a different perspective,
Right.
right? So we can grow together. But it's really, allowing ourselves that ability to grow and look at what went wrong, and how can I just do the self-care and get back out there and build it more. And in business, we see it too, right? It's like the more we understand what's important, with the map, I talk about we often think of personality conflicts, but it's often a motivational conflict, right? It's what I want. I'm focused on the money, I'm focused on the relationships. So I'm off to do that, but you're not spending time with me.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So we're missing each other.
Exactly. Oh, well, thank you so much for those tips and those insights and your perspective. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what advice would you give someone wanting to be their true, authentic self who might be suffering, from burnout or overwhelm and could use some self care tools to kind of enhance their everyday life?
You can't take good care of anything else in your life or anyone else in your life unless you take care of yourself first. Because otherwise, you're coming from a point of fracture and the sourcing of what you're doing is off. Been down, done that, so can speak to that. Um, and a tool, there's a great tool. Dr. Paul Sheely has on his website a 5-day laser focus challenge. He has this process that he teaches you these little short videos over 5 days, little short video over 5 different days. And it is a process to take you out of your head into your body in 90 seconds. And
Ooh.
flash out your overwhelm so that you can start looking at you, taking care of you, and then taking better care of everything else. And once you, now with any self-care tools, I'm very big on self-care tools. Any self-care, I can speak, self-care tool, knowing of it and studying it a bit and learning it does not make it yours. You need to practice it on a regular basis, and then it will be there for you to engage whenever you need it. Some kinds of tools, if you just use them regularly, you don't even have to try to engage them. They show up. I had that experience in one crisis. It was phenomenal. But this one, it's just a little 90-second thing. It engages some neurochemical responses and a couple of endpoints of meridian lines. And it is a very fast way to get from here, where everything is like this, to just get down to here. And you can't freak out when your essence is down here, actually in your body. Your mind can't freak out on you. So
Right.
then you can, from a cool, clearer space, make your choices and move on with what you need to move on to, whether it's a really intense meeting that's going to happen in a little bit or a very heavy conversation you need to have with somebody.
Yeah, amazing. Can you take us through the tool?
Well, I can't really take you stand up and take you. I can share a link to you to put in
Oh,
for
sure.
your show notes for your folks. It's free. It's a free thing. It's something you put together. I've been using it for years, but he has advanced it beyond what I was using. He's been increasing the um, efficiency process of it. It used to take like a couple of 3 minutes, but I've been doing it for years, so I could just do it faster anyway. But so you go understand the different pieces of it. But I have been using it, going through some classes I had gone through with him on, consciousness engineering and whatnot. And, this is not going to hurt you. It's just wonderful, great. And I have shared it with friends and professionals, and the benefits are real. And I've been using it. I know it works. And you will be very excited once you give it a try and practice it. If you practice it, it'll be there for you.
Nice. I am so intrigued to know what this is. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, I will send that link because I couldn't recite the link, and I would rather have him teach you the process because I don't want to miss a piece of it and have you practicing it wrong, not get the full benefit. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we will
yeah,
have make sure to get that and it'll be in the show notes. So please look there, everyone.
very good.
All right.
Very
Thank you
good.
so much.
You are very welcome.
So tell me what advice you would give to women leaders and entrepreneurs wanting to be their true authentic self in leadership and in life.
In my work with my clients, I notice that a lot of women leaders tend to diminish their own persona, their own abilities, trying to portray certain image that is required of them or is expected of them. And when that happens, I remind them that we have all been born completely unique. If you look at our fingerprints, absolutely no one has your fingerprints. No one has your iris in your eye. And this reminds that we've been divinely designed to be different, to stand out, to be like no other. And when we try to mimic somebody else, or when we try to fit in, when we dim our own light or expression, we actually go against this beautiful divine design that has been orchestrated for us to have a unique journey and very unique expression. So you are the gift to the world the way you are. I'm not quarreling with the source, creator, divine mother, father, God, however you want to call that beautiful wisdom that creates us. I believe that if I've been created the way I am today, then there is some magic in it. There's some design, some purpose for me to show up as me. And I honor every person for being different from me because I know they've been orchestrated and designed for greatness. And when they tap into who they are, they become the purpose that they seek because you are the purpose. Your uniqueness, your beauty, the gifts that you're bringing to the world are like no other. So don't pursue the purpose outside of you. Everything to fulfill your purpose is already within you. It's been downloaded into you the moment you popped into this existence. My invitation is embrace you, and then the rest will follow.
Wow, yeah, and, like, easier said than done, I would think, especially because like, you were talking about that, like, we kind of feel that we have to have these molds or, yeah, we, like, downplay ourselves, and I even got reminded of that the other day when, I was putting together a presentation for a workshop and kinda got to the part of, like, what I was offering, and, my business coach was like, "Well, I think that you're really," I can't remember the word term you used, but basically not, like, showing people actually what I'm doing or like this sort of genius and like what I'm actually offering and how like amazing it is. And he's like, I think you're kind of downplaying it. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I didn't realize that I was doing that. And so yeah, like even trying so hard to be authentic and live authentically, we can still do that sometimes because I think we can be so conditioned, especially as women and women leaders. And if you're trying to carve your own path as an entrepreneur, uh, that can be yeah, kind of hard to bring out.
Which brings me to point number 2. When we show up as business owners, not fully as we are or who we are, we tend to attract people that see only portion of us. So there is a little
Mm.
bit of a mismatch. The fastest way to get ideal clients is to show up fully who you are, because per law of attraction, we will attract the exact people who love us for who we are. And then business is so much easier. I don't have to pretend to be anything that I am not because you get what you see. And what that means is that the clients that were not supposed to be part of my journey will deselect themselves. And those who are exactly matched for how I show up, how I mentor them, how I help them expand, they will be attracted to the qualities that I project and I represent. So I always say in my money mindset workshop or sales, rock your sales workshops, show up fully as you and your tribe will find you. And that's exactly who you should be working with. So why trying to be somebody else when your perfect ideal clients are waiting for you and they will find you the moment you say, here I am, and this is what I look like.
Yeah, and I just absolutely love that. And it's a really good reminder and something we think we need to remind ourselves of every day because there can be so much, yeah, conditioning. And it's like, well, but like this person's successful because they do this. So I feel like maybe I need to mimic them, or maybe I need to mimic them, or maybe I can't do me. Or some people don't like swearing. Some people do like swearing. Well, if I say this, am I going to be offensive to someone? Like at least that's kind of what happens in my mind sometimes when I want to do or say something. And I'm like, oh, and I feel myself kind of hold back, like maybe I shouldn't say that or do that because of whatever consequences that might have. And I guess that's what it kind of is sometimes. I think that we hold ourselves back because we feel there's going to be some type of negative consequence. Oh, then my business is going to fail, or I'm not going to find the right people. But you're right. If you just actually relax into who you are and show yourself as you are, and present as you are and say things as you say, you will attract the right people. So therefore, failure is not an option.
They will love you for who you are. So cuss away. That's what I do in my mentorship programs.
Yeah, that's okay.
And the third point that I would like to invite women to think about is that there is a power in community. Back in 2020, when I launched the Athena Circle, it was precisely for women who wanted to embrace their life purpose, showing up authentically in the world, and pursue both personal, professional, and spiritual growth. So we created a sacred space where you can be you and you're not judged. Nobody's thinking any less of you for the struggles or challenges that you're going through. And we can mastermind how we show up in the world. We can truly come together authentically, not worrying whether you're wearing a makeup when you're on your business call, or how you dress, how you speak, or what you want to bring to the world. There is simply no judgment. So find mentors, find friends who will support you for who you are and provide this cushion. Because as you mentioned, it can be tough. There's a lot of successful people that project certain persona, and we may think that we need to emulate them. So when you give yourself permission to show up as you, it may feel a little bit scary at the beginning,
Mm.
but it will not if you have a community that says, we celebrate you the way you are, and we've got your back.
Oh, I absolutely love that you have this community. It sounds so lovely. And almost like the first thought I had was like, is that really possible? Could I really go there and be fully accepted as me? Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, just visit theathenacircle.com and we will welcome you with open arms, exactly as you are, who you are, and what you are.
Oh, yes. Go there, go there, go there, and join the community. Be you, be your authentic self. Oh, thank you so much for today and answering all those questions.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to be part of this conversation.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.